सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुरेव परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। संभूतिंच विनाशंच यस्तद्वेदो भयगंसः विनाशेन मृत्युं तीर्त्वा संभूत्यां मृतमश्नुते। संभूतिंच विनाशंच, that which was recognized as asambhuti in the earlier two mantras is now being recognized as sambhuti. Because if the asambhuti be taken as the pointer upadesha, then the sambhuti is the anubhava. Anubhava, the experience of that which was pointed to. So it was unmanifest, not experienced. After the pointer is contemplated upon and there is manana nididhyasana done, thereby it has now become sambhuti. Sambhuti, a manifest experience. It is not a feeling, it is not a thought, it is not an assertion of an idea. Because this experience does not fall in the realm of the mind, therefore it is not a feeling. It is not the field of the intellect, therefore cannot be the ideas or a conviction. It is a direct experience of the self by the self to abide in the self. That is being recognized here as sambhuti. And vinasha, all the sense of moha and the attachment born thereof, that has been burnt away, roasted away. It has no significance or influence, impact any further. All the moha and the attachment. So vinashena mrityum tirtva, having burnt away all the sense of moha and attachments, mrityum tirtva, they were the limiting factors. Because of my moha, I was being attached to. That moha itself is removed. When the delusion is removed, then there is no more bhaya. There is no more fear or attachment. As long as we see the snake on the rope, the fear still exists. But the moment there is that light, and through that I become wise, that good, it is not a snake, it is only a rope. The moment I recognize that it is only a rope, what happened to the snake? The answer that I am looking is not that it vanished or it's gone.
There is no snake.
There never was a snake that existed. There is a difference. When you say it vanished, it went away,
It was there and
that means that it was there at some point of time. Now it is not there. It might come back. But when you understand that it never existed, it only existed as long as my vyamoha persisted. The moment that moha is gone, there is no more snake. There is no more influence of that which I call as samsara. Done. Finished. Vinashena mrityum tirtva. That limitation is gone. Sambhutyam amrutam ashnute. It has been experienced. It has been experienced as my own aparoksha anubhuti, as my own personal, immediate, intimate experience as the self, by the self, abiding in the self. With complete clarity. The reason I have to mention complete clarity is, many times our clarity shakes up because there still persists some layer of moha. And that moha can be removed only through the manana nididhyasana. Manana removes sandeha nivritti. All kinds of doubts, manana removes. That is how manana should be done. It has to be objective and it has to be impersonal. Cannot throw tantrums in manana process. What exactly is it that is not understood? What exactly is it that I have not grasped? To the roots of it, I have to understand the problem clearly and then find the answer for it. Sandeha nivritti. Manana has to do that. Unless until we contemplate on this, even after the satsanga, the shravana is done, there is no way to understand, because that has to be tested. It's a feedback loop that you test, evaluate, come back, look at the vyamoha, go back again, test it. So it has to be a constant testing process which is guided by the contemplation. After that contemplation is done, sandeha nivritti is done. There is no more disturbing factor in the intellect of its ideas. Even if there is slightest of the sandeha, for years together that sandeha will keep you unsettled. You may observe that different environments of shravana might be happening, but our question still persists. The same pattern of question we keep asking. Meaning what? Manana is not being properly executed. Now, nididhyasana, how does it help? Dhyana, how does it help? Dhyana is where the viparita bhavana, though I understand, though there is clarity, but because of the habitual error, inadvertently I go back to the square one. So we have to recognize those patterns as well. And then the remedy of it is in one of the pointers of the Shastra itself. So those aspects of Shastra I have to now, I have to start processing, identify and sit and meditate upon it quite thoroughly and intensely. Asangoham, asangoham, asangoham punah punaha. I am detached from it. The more it inadvertently comes, not resist it, but evaluate it. Why am I in that same position again? Why am I reaching there? The various reasons. So those have to be understood and thoroughly evaluated in the process of contemplation. It is like giving the right feed to the intellect to ascertain as to why I am not that which is disturbing me. Very powerful stotras, Mano Buddhya Ahankara Chittaninaham. That whole 6 shlokas. Then there is a whole segment in Viveka Chudamani. Every Upanishad speaks about this particular aspect alone. So to identify what is it that is personally at my individual level that I am distracted by. What is it that triggers and that I go back to the square one. Though the understanding, it's a very frustrating period. That my understanding is clear, but my experience is nowhere close to clarity. So contemplate quite intensely. Therefore, Gurudev says, contemplate rigorously. After the manana is done, you have to sit on the seat of meditation and we should know what to meditate upon. It is these habitual errors that I am constantly getting back to. After having identified, now I have to contemplate on its remedial process. That is called dhyana. We don't believe that dhyana has to lead to a state of no mind being, a state of no mindness. If you have to reach to a state of no mind, it is summertime, have nice curd rice and you will feel sleepy. थोड़ा सा हवा का भी डाल लो. And then you enter into that which is called state of no mind. That is called deep sleep. उसके लिए इतना साधन करने की आवश्यकता नहीं है. Then they quote the Yoga Sutra. Did not Patanjali Maharshi say, first of all, it is not Patanjali. Being a Bharatiya, being a Hindu, pronouncing our own Rishi's name wrongly, it hurts. It is not Patanjali, it is not Patanjali, it is Patanjali Rishi. So Patanjali Rishi in his Yoga Sutras, the very second sutra, he says, Yogaha Chitta Vritti Nirodha. Did he not say that Chitta Vritti Nirodha, it has to be eradicated, eliminated, destroyed? Understand it in a very simple sense. Every phone has an operating system. Android has Android operating system, Apple has Apple OS, BlackBerry. BlackBerry had its own operating system. There are operating systems. If the operating system itself fails, what happens to that cell phone? It becomes a brick, a good paperweight, costly paperweight. It is non-functional. If the mind gets destroyed, then Vedanta is not the solution. You have to be taken to an asylum, a mental hospital. There what Patanjali Rishi is indicating is that within the mind's functionality there are two aspects. That which you are taking a sankalpa for, that which you are willing. Hold the responsibility, whatever you have willed. After you have willed, then it becomes chaotic. That means your sankalpa shakti itself was in a shaky grounds. That completely is on your shoulders, squarely in your lap. The second aspect of mana is where there are unwilled thoughts, we don't know where they are being triggered, but they get triggered. We are just sitting, but this is some wave of thought, that emotion that comes, and it's only about 20-30 minutes later I realize that I have been in some kind of a loop. That unwilled thought, nirodha, chitta vritti nirodha. That has to be removed, that has to be weeded out completely. Yoga helps in that, and that is the purpose of it. The purposefulness of yoga sadhana is very clear in that. That unwilled thought, that which you have not done the sankalpa for, but which keeps agitating you, that has to be recognized and weeded out. Yoga sadhana, pranayama, various kinds of procedures that have been given, those help to remove that. And there also he says, just your purusha prayatna is not sufficient to strengthen the mind to remove it. Ishvara pranidhana. You have to completely surrender to that Ishvara. In the entire voluminous work of the Yoga Sutras, if he had not mentioned Ishvara pranidhana, it would have become as good as an Astikavada. But he intelligently puts that statement saying that your mind by itself is not powerful enough to face itself. You have to strengthen it as well, and the process is to recognize that divine as Ishvara, and this egocentric individuality has to be surrendered. Therefore, when we say dhyana, it is not to reach to a state wherein there is no mind. Matlab aap so rahe ho. Get that standpoint very, very clear. Sadly, many those who say that they are talking on Vedanta, Advaita Vedanta, end up saying that meditation is to reach to the state of no mindness. All that you can do is never mind them. It's not the right standpoint. Is that point very clear? Because that creates a lot of confusion later. Therefore, the sadhana is to focus on removing. What does dhyana mean? First, you have to identify for yourself. We have not yet come into the meditation classes to that standpoint yet. We are still evaluating what is not meditation and how to even sit. When we come to that, each pointer, how it has to be applied, what has to be identified. बस वैसे आंख बंद के बैठे हुए हैं, उसे निधिध्यासन नहीं बोलते हैं. Erroneous habits of what? To assume that I am the Annamaya Kosha, the Sukha Dukkhadi Vritti at the Annamaya Kosha. Pranamaya Kosha it is Ashana Pipasa, thirst and hunger. At the mind level it is Sankalpa Vikalpa. At the intellectual level it is the Dharana or the inability of that Dharana to understand, grasp. At the Karana Sharira, this is the most confusing state. How many ever times it is explained, it leads us to so much of confusion. All the Shruti is describing about that Karana Sharira is what? Or the Anandamaya Kosha, that it is Anirvachaniya. Anirvachaniya, that which cannot be described. And it is a state of ignorance. Complete tamasic, ignorant existence. Ignorance of what? Ignorance of my true nature. When did it begin? When they say beginningless, what they actually mean is that cannot be ascertained. Therefore beginningless. Even Paramatma is beginningless. This avidya is also beginningless. But what is the difference between beginningless? One doesn't have birth, therefore beginningless. The other, we know not when it triggered, therefore it is beginningless. But Paramatma is that which is ananta, whereas this avidya is antavanta. Antavanta, that which can be terminated meticulously if you work at it. Sambhutyam amrutam ashnute. That has to be experienced at the personal, intimate, immediate knowledge. Now moving forward. This much we had already seen yesterday, but it had to be re-emphasized. Page 143, Mantra 15. Hiranmayena patrena satyasyapi hitam mukham tatvam pushanna pavrunu satya dharmaya drishtaye. Hiranmayena patrena satyasya apihitam mukham. Tat tvam he pushan apavranu satya dharmaya drishtaye. Even though I am very meticulously trying to practice, I am being very, very sincere. Who is the seeker? Satya dharmaya drishtaye. My highest priority and the only priority is to this Sat Tattva, which is my dharma, to experience it. Satya dharmaya drishtaye. Such me seeker has to do what? Very prayerfully. So when you sit on the seat of Nididhyasana, you start with a prayer, a sincere, honest, heartful prayer. Bhagavan, please guide my intellect to the right direction. What is the last line of Gayatri Mantra? Dhiyo yona prachodayat. May my intellect be guided to that which is self-illumining, Atma Jyoti. That prayerful attitude should be there. Because intellect by itself is not that capable to transcend it. You need the extra boost. So you can also say, boost is the secret of my energy. You need that extra boost. It is not a dry philosophy. It is soaked in the nectarine bhakti bhava. That ego has to mellow down in that absolute surrender. Without that help from that Ishvara, progress cannot happen assured. Just a dry mere intellectualization will leave us frustrated. Because you come to a point beyond which going becomes, you come to a stale moot point. Progressing from there, you need that little push. So therefore the seeker who is saying Satya Dharmaya Drishtaye, I am being very sincere in this pursuit, that this is not the desire of mine, but this is the only aspect of mine. This is the priority. Nothing else is a priority. And here he personally, because in the first mantra we started, Ishavasya sarvam yatkincha jagatyam jagat. Here who is that Ishvara? He is saying Pushan. Pushan meaning that which nourishes. Being the very center of our being, that which nourishes every single movement for its purposeful gathering. Who is that nourisher? That without whom nothing of this creation would have been sustained. We also call him Surya Narayana. That Narayana who is the Pratyaksha Daiva. He is right in front of our eyes. See, whenever people say that Bharatiya culture has to be protected, if we can do one aspect, wake up before the sun rises and offer Sandhya Vandana to that Surya Bhagavan, rest of it will be repaired. That prayerful attitude should be there. But we are like, after the sun rises, somewhere down the line, and then we see the time, and our waking up start with cuss words. Oh shoot, आज भी late हो गए. I have tried putting a different word there. We start with that kutsita bhava, our life ends with that kutsita bhava. Wake up early, because the pratyaksha daiva, pratyaksha aspect of that Ishvara that we can see is that Surya. It's not just light and heat, without whose presence the moon doesn't have light to reflect. Without whose presence there cannot be any flora and fauna. That which we consume as food. Without whose presence, when the moon doesn't reflect, the flora and fauna doesn't get the Aushadha Bala. In 15th chapter we say, Pushnami chaushadhi sarvaha, Pushnami nourishing. This nourishment comes from where? From that Surya Narayana. He doesn't have to exert a lot of effort in trying to reach to all leaves. Patte ko pahunchna hai, I have to provide. No, he just unmovingly, unshakingly stays in his own orbit. Just by his mere presence, all of this gets nourished. He Pushan. Hiranmayena patrena satyasya apihitam mukham. So beautifully put. The poetic aspect of the Rishi is unmatched. Earlier we say samsara, sagara, dustara, and it is so tormenting. Now after enough contemplation, he says, I cannot blame the samsara. Why? Every aspect of this jagat is nothing but you, the substratum alone, which is coming forth in all these formats. There is no Hina Dina Bhavana in this Jagat. But then, my distraction is the names and forms, and this Jagat is too brilliant and bright to keep distracting me. The names and forms. So the poet in this Rishi says, Hiranmayena patrena satyasya apihitam mukham. Your actual nature is being as though covered by this samsara. It is you alone. But then the names and forms become so distracting, so attractive, that my attention gets deviated. To get past that Hiranmaya Patra. See, as soon as you go out, if the sun is hitting directly into your eyes, you feel blinded for few moments. You have to move away from it. The Jagat is like that. Though it is you, but it is as though covered by these names and forms. Swami Akhandanand ji used to say it beautifully. ये जगत क्या चीज है? जो जग 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 चमके वही जगत है. What is Jagat? That which is brilliantly shining. So shining that it takes my attention away. Therefore, give my intellect that strength that it can penetrate through this avarana, and I can see your actual true state of being. You are not the names and forms. You are the very substratum that expresses as the names and forms. But instead of seeing that substratum, I get distracted to see only the names and forms. Every day we see each other, greet each other, namaste. That itself is a beautiful upasana. We don't say hi, 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 hi. We end up experiencing hi, 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 hi. Our tradition is not hi, hello. Our tradition is namaste. That is such a beautiful upasana. Namaha te. To that substratum which is expressing as this name and form. Unto that is this namaskara. So one of our Swamijis used to say, Namaste, namaste, par kuch nahi samajhte. कहते तो है नमस्ते, but the bhava behind, to understand that it is the substratum unto who I am saluting, offering my salutations, that is absent. The moment I see an individual, I see all the impressions of mine according to that individual, and I start reacting from within. Therefore I say namaste, but kuch nahi samajhte. It is my impressions of that individual that I immediately trigger, and I see not that substratum, I see the crookedness of that name and form and the various attributes. So if it has to be taken as a sadhana, when I am interacting with the world of things and beings, can I consciously interact without judging the situation or individual? How difficult it is. Because we can't get past the impressions that we have gathered with regards to that individual. What kind of magnanimity must have been Bhagavan Sri Ramchandra when after Ravana is hit down in the battlefield, he says to Lakshmana, he may be our arch enemy, but he is a great Pandita. Go learn something from him. On his dying deathbed, दुश्मन है, is an enemy. But then, even in that, getting past those impressions of what I have gathered to that individual. Another example, Prahlada. Every time I am not a very bhav kind of emotional kind of a person, but that Prahlada story, it touches a different nerve inside. He is seated on Bhagwan's lap. Nowhere, anywhere else I have seen Bhagwan requesting the devotee to ask for a boon. Nachiketa is different. He says, this is my demand. If you can, deliver. Otherwise, keep that third boon to yourself, he says. Nachiketa's intellectual audacity is of a different level. Prahlada is something more sweet. He's sitting on the lap of Bhagavan. And as though if you can imagine, Bhagavan is holding on to him and saying, one boon please ask me. I cannot take an avatar and not give you a loving boon. He says, nahi, mujhe kuch nahi chahiye. I'm sitting on your lap, that is more than sufficient. 3 times he asks. Upon the third request, then Prahlada says, if at all there is something that I can seek of Bhagavan, then he says, my father has done, seemingly people have evaluated him as a Naraka Tulya Kritya. He has done these kinds of atrocious things for which Naraka is his Anubhava. But all his acts, if it was leading towards your Pratyaksha Anubhava, and now I am sitting on your lap, if all of that has led to Bhagavan's Swayam Darshana, how can they be bad? If that which leads to Bhagavan, how can you evaluate it as bad? What he has done unto me, I don't recognize it as bad. But if there was any bad intention in his mind, you please kshamasva. You please completely pardon him. Because I owe it to him that if he was not this cruel, I would not have intensified my yearning for you. And that has resulted. I am sitting in your lap. So therefore, क्षमा कर दो. Non-judgmental. Even to the worst of the experiences. Most of us or all of us have not gotten even an iota, a grain like, sand grain like experience of atrocities. None of us, thankfully. Thankfully, none of us have gone through that kind of experience. But then, our judgmental quality has voluminous, mountainous. When you greet somebody, when you go to certain environment, put your judgments aside. We evaluate the person and we have prejudged the person even before we can even interact with that environment. कपड़े कैसे पहने हैं, जूते कैसे हैं? Is there an elegance that beams out? Otherwise not worth my time. We have already judged. See, I think it is Govind Ghat, on way to Badrinath, from where the trek from Govind Ghat, the trek for Hemkund Sahib starts. We were stuck because front and back there was landslide. We had nowhere to go. So we were seated. There was a shabby looking person, sadhu. We were all, see, when the landslide happens, that much amount of people is a burden on that particular little small village, because they have transient material to supply or to sell. For more than 4 hours, if there is a stuck environment, they can't supply. So assessing all of it, I had about 80 people. So 80 stomachs to feed. So I went not to the shops but directly to the village, from where the supply comes to the village, to the shops, and asked them for some meal or something. So we were all eating and the sadhu was sitting. It's not like something elaborate. It was dry chana, like the chana sabji, but not the liquidy one, the dry sukha sabji, some aloo in it, and 2 puri. That is all we could afford for the 80 stomachs. So this sadhu was sitting. As soon as the distribution was done, there was I went, somehow felt drawn to that sadhu, and I said, Baba, khaiye. He takes it. See, the edge of the valley where the bus is parked, he goes to that edge and throws that chana and puri into that valley. All the eating, there was a reaction. Though my back was to them, I could feel that hit me, like that their agitation kind of hit me. And then he says, Chinta mat karo. There is a troop of ants that have been searching for food for several hours, and this will feed them sumptuously. And then he bent down and said, Dekho. There was like whole, like filled with ants. Looking at his shabby nature, looking at his act, we had already judged him. We don't know. Bhagavan is expressing through so many forms. Who are we indirectly judging? Bhagavan alone in that form. Your Ishtadeva in that form. Can we afford to? Stop judging. May my intellect be protected. May my intellect be strengthened. May my intellect be provided the right direction to get past these names, forms, and the various aspects of my impressions that it has generated and become judgmental. May all of that be weeded out. This is Tattvam Pushan Apavranu. I am trying to get over this. Seems next to impossibility. If at all there is anything that I can ask you, Bhagavan, keep my buddhi so strong and so equipped that it can penetrate through these patterns that distract me away from you, and let me focus on you, the ultimate supreme reality. What a beautiful poetic way of saying it. Hiranmayena patrena satyasya pihitam mukham It has been covered. So, hey Pushan, tattvam apavranu. You remove it. And it is not like I say, am I puch liya? Satya dharmaya drishtaye. My life, my priority is only to realize this and nothing else. That which you are, the Sat Swarupa, as my dharma, let me experience it. Continuing. पूषण्येकर्षे यम सूर्य प्राजापत्य व्यूहरश्मीन् समूह तेजो यत्ते रूपम् तेजो यत्ते रूपम् कल्याणतमं तत्ते पश्यामि योऽसावसौ पुरुषः सोऽहमस्मि. Every Upanishad has a beautiful Mahavakya. This Upanishad Mahavakya is Yosavasau Purushaha Sohamasmi. Not just Sohamasmi. Yosavasau Purushaha Sohamasmi. Pushan, the one who is the nourisher of this entire creation. Ekarshe, Eka Rishi. You are the only seer. Ekarshe. Yama. We know that Yama is sun's son. Therefore, when you keep your son's name as Surya Kumar, be careful. Surya had 2 sons and 1 daughter. Yamuna is Surya's daughter. Yama and Shani. So Surya Kumar, you decide that son is Yama or Shani. We know that son's son is Yama. Why is son being called as Yama? Yama means control. Every aspect, from the minutest of the count that we can of time to the entire creative surge in time, is controlled by who? By whose presence? It is this Surya Bhagavan. The day and night decided by Surya Bhagavan. The seasons, the weathers and the impact of this climatic changes is controlled by who? Surya Bhagavan. Therefore, he controls the entire creation. He is called Yama. Pushanne Karshe Yama. Surya. Surya, that which is constantly illumining forth. Prajapatya. Prajapatya, the one who is the son of Prajapati. The other meaning, the one who is in direct in charge of the Praja. That which is created, he is the direct one who is providing for all kinds of aspects for the Praja. Prajapatya. Vyuha Rashmin. This Hiranmaya Patra, Vyuha, please take it away. Take it away, that these names and forms which are distracting, may I see the substratum, may my buddhi not get distracted, take this Rashmin away. Why? It's as though here between the first part of the mantra and the second part of the mantra, Bhagavan Surya must have said, Tathastu. Blessed that individual seeker. These last 4 mantras, so meditative. Memorize these 4 mantras. As though he said Tathastu, he says, Tejo yatte rupam kalyanatamam tatte pashyami. Out of gratitude, the sadhaka says, I now can see your actual being. How is it? Kalyanatamam, the most auspicious. What is the greatest kalyana? See, when the chicks come, just to tease them, when they do namaskara, I say, Shigrameva kalyana praptirastu. They get so agitated. Not so early, Swamiji. I am not even thinking of marriage. But it is not about marriage. It is about being auspicious and seeing auspiciousness. Even marriage was supposed to be to take us to that state of auspiciousness. That is why Vivaha is called Kalyana. So when people ask, Swamiji, is arranged marriage better or love marriage better? I say, first of all, out of syllabus. If you insist that I should answer, I said, it doesn't matter if it is arranged or love marriage, it should be a successful marriage. How can it be a successful marriage? When you see that both these individuals are brought together in the auspicious act of marriage, it is not because you are compatible. That is not how it is seen. See, when you see the horoscope, yes, it is also experienced that it becomes a horror scope for all the horrors to be seen. They do matching. Jatakalu Kalisai. What do they mean when they say that they have mapped both these horoscopes and that now that they are matching? There are certain points, 36 pointers. हिंदी में कहते हैं 36 का आंकड़ा है इनका. If you write in Hindi 3 and then 6, they don't see each other. It's like they're turning their backs to each other. 36 का आंकड़ा, that means that. But that is not 36 का आंकड़ा just because the numeric is shown like that. When you match, and if 36 of the 36 match, they are not compatible. It will become a platform for one better than the other. Constant strife right from the beginning. There are some good aspects in this individual, there are some good aspects in the other individual. There are certainly some bad aspects in both. What is the matching that is done? Matching done is in such a way that your good helps and supports to nourish the good of the other person. Their negativities are in such a way that it doesn't cancel yours. Your negativities don't cancel their positive. But strengthen enough so that both get the opportunity to get past that negative aspect of each individual, supporting each other. Thereby, it reaches to the state of Kalyana. It is not that as soon as you get married, nobody is Mr. Perfect, nobody is Miss Perfect. So when do you reach to a perfect marriage? It is a constant, consistent effort to reach there sooner than later. It doesn't start with a perfect note. It has to reach there. So Kalyana means to reach to that auspicious state of balance. Kalyanatamam, the best of the auspiciousness. Tat tvam rupam kalyanatamam. The best part is tatte pashyami. I am now able to see it. Whatever I am seeing, the words here are repeated twice. Yaha asau asau purushaha. See, the Upanishad insists on repeating those two words twice. Yaha, whatever I am seeing, asau asau purushaha. This Purusha that I am seeing, it is not that Purusha anymore. When we always refer to, we say that Bhagavan. The reference here is not that Purusha, asau Purushaha. This Purusha that I am seeing. Again, Women Liberation Front, don't take out your banners. Why is this always Purusha? Why cannot it be Stri? We will see that in next month in Kenopanishad. Uma Haimavati, we will see that there. But here, Purusha, it's not about the Linga Bheda. Purusha means Purnatvat Purushaha. That which is of the essence of completeness. This which I am seeing, what do I realize? This which I am seeing, I realize Saha Ahamasmi is verily my own true nature. Abiding in this is called realization. We will continue this tomorrow. And tomorrow we should be able to conclude the Ishavasya Upanishad. So when you are leaving, please do take the GD covers. And those who are listening online, you can send in the Guru Dakshina to the Chinmay Mission Hyderabad account. We will do that tomorrow. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah, Sarve Santu Niramayaha, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kaschit Dukkha Bhag Bhavet, Asato Ma Satgamaya, Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya, Mrityor Ma Amritangamaya. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.